This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Jambo, welcome to Masai Mara. We are looking at 4 lionesses of the Owino Pride. We are here at the marsh to start this afternoon game drive. A very good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this afternoon game drive. My name is Isaac, and on camera I have Big James. Welcome to Masai Mara. The weather this afternoon is around 30 degrees Celsius. Remember to talk to us on #WildEarth. Questions and comments are very, very welcome. It is a nice sunny afternoon, and there's a few clouds gathering, but looks like the rains will be later. Remember, I'm joined by my colleagues in 6 other locations, so please remember to send in your questions and comments. Looks like these females have eaten really, really well this afternoon because they're full of blood on their mouths and also on their paws, and also you can tell by their full bellies. Look at that. They're very, very full. I don't know what they ate, but whatever it is, it was very filling because of how they look. That was very well behaved of the female to the left. She went out to go to the bathroom, and now she is back to sleep. I'm staying with them here for a little bit, see what happens.
Warm welcome to all our viewers. We're currently here at Ambion in Ngala, and we're watching a big herd of elephants that have come down into the dry riverbed to start digging for some water and to have a drink and to cool themselves down. Now, in the middle of this herd, you might just notice there's a little elephant moving. But before we even head in, just look at the vast size of this riverbed, especially also look at the banks on the side. And it only occasionally would flow, especially if there's a lot of rain within this area. But I'm Nikki here at Ambion and God. I'm going to be your ranger for this afternoon. And on the camera, we have Gert. Now, we had quite a difficult decision to make. What are we going to do this afternoon? Are we going to start off with lions or possibly head across to the elephants? We decided, you know what, let's just take the riverbed, because always when in doubt, take the riverbed. And we decided to come and have a look. And of course, we were rewarded with a beautiful herd of elephants coming down to drink. Now I'm going to try and see if we can see that young baby moving right in the middle now. See, it's moving off to the right.
So from a young baby elephant, or trying to find one, to this massive elephant bull walking through the thickets in a drainage line, trying to keep out of the hottest of the sun. It is a very warm afternoon. This elephant bull's just following another through the thickets that you can just see on the left there. It is a very warm day, and hopefully there's going to be more elephants coming down here. Hi, I'm Mike, and behind the camera is Odie, and you've joined us here at Eco Training's Pride Lands Conservancy, and we're with an elephant bull that we know affectionately as Kumo. The researchers know him quite well, and so we're just going to follow him for a little while and see what he gets up to. He just had a bit of a mud wallow at the waterhole close to the Eco Training camp. And now they're just flapping their ears, trying to cool down in the shade whilst snacking just a little bit. Haven't actually seen the elephants flapping their ears that much recently because it's been rather chilly. Yes, that's right, we're talking about you. They probably can hear us, to be honest. Very excellent hearing. And Kumo likes to steal the limelight a little bit. We haven't seen them flapping their ears that much because it's been quite cool. But today is very warm, and so the elephants are flapping every now and again, trying to cool down the blood in those big blood vessels behind their ears. I really wonder where they're going to go next, though. There's a few impalas down there also. And what we've noticed recently is that because there's so little food left, as the elephants walk through these thickets, they break down trees and crack branches, and the impalas follow them to eat whatever is left over. Roger, when does a young elephant learn how to break a tree trunk? It's an interesting question. I suppose they learn, however early that they need to, and they learn from the parents. So if it's an area that's quite dry and where they have to break down the tree trunks in order to get to whatever vegetation they can find, then they'll probably learn quite young. But if they live in quite a swampy area, let's say like the swamps of the Okavango Delta in Botswana, they probably feed on a lot more grassy reeds and water plants, and so they probably don't learn to break trees down that quickly. But I suppose that an elephant is a very big thing, especially the males will often break trees just to show off their strength. So it also depends on how aggressive they want to get with each other.
So have a look at these group of elephants right in the middle. You'll notice that they have started digging for water, but because of the cold sand that came out of the hole, some of them decided to go and lie down in that cold sand. But look at the baby as well. So the baby is basically rolling right next to that one in the middle and enjoying that nice cool sand. You can see there's Jack standing up and the other one is resting his trunk on the baby. And imagine how delicate this herd will be around a baby like that. But just look at it lying down in the cold sand. Just notice some of those elephants that are standing up, you'll see there's some mud on their forehead. So as they were drinking and maybe catching some of the sand and moving it away so they can actually get to the water, they would have flicking that onto their head. So Lucas, the benefit of putting sand onto their, or like let's say onto their bodies, even onto their backs to cool themselves down. Imagine on a very warm day in Africa, there's no real shade in this riverbed. And so if they do have a drink and the water is quite dirty, they will take that first bit of dirty water and instead of just wasting it, they'll flick it onto themselves with that nice ice cold sand. Helps to protect them against the sun, but also helps to cool them down. And also, let's say now, if there was a lot of mud in it, as soon as that mud starts hardening and they go and rub up against a tree, any tick or parasite that is trapped within that mud will then come off. Look at this one right here. See how the tail is moving. Look at the ears. So often, other than cooling themselves using the water, they will fan the ears. So imagine now if you had to pour water onto yourself and you had to run or there was a cold breeze blowing, how it cools you down. The same with these elephants. So by standing here, there's a slight breeze blowing. By moving those ears, it all just helps to cool down. Oh, look at the baby. I'm just going to go back towards the baby. Look at how it's basically lying down in, or with its legs into the pit where the others are drinking the water. And as we were mentioning, that the whole reason why they're doing this is because it's such a warm day. So that baby is just enjoying having that nice ice cold sand around it. How incredible is that? That might have even been the mother telling the other ones, like, come on, move out of the way so we can get towards where the water is. But look at that little one now. The very small elephant is actually pushing the slightly bigger one back towards the hole. He's just stopped now. But if we give it some time, look at that little one. It's always one of the most amazing things for me is to watch a herd of elephants and to learn a bit about their behavior. Why do they come down to the water? What time? Also, I just want to show the difference in size. Now, there is a big bull that is coming down from the bank, heading towards the rest of the herd. So, see how this little one is? So maybe even one day it will be the size of this elephant. But if we go out, just notice the difference in size. So you'll see to the right, there looks like might be some young males, but just look above him or above them on the side of the bank. The difference in size. How big is that elephant bull? You can even see that left tusk of his is worn down more than the right. Also probably just coming down to drink. But notice the difference between the sizes. So the one on the left is a young female, and the one on the right is quite a big bull. But I agree with you, the baby is getting all the attention, but they're so playful. Since we've been moving around to see the other ones, you'll just see how they are having so much fun in the middle of all those other elephants. You can see with that one, you will see there's no tusks. No, often it's only after a year when they start showing the tusks. See, that baby's in that hole, and sometimes if they do get stuck in holes like that, you'll see the mother will then wrap their trunk around the baby or even use their tusks and then pull the youngster out. So mom's probably trying to get some water, and that youngster is just pushing all the sand back into the pit.
From one precious sighting to another, we are not just looking at vegetation here, we're looking at something very precious indeed. And it's either the female or the male spotted eagle owl. One half of the monogamous pair, the exact same pair that gave birth to Sebwig last year. And it's getting to that time of year where hopefully they're going to lay some more eggs. My name is Lauren. I do have BK on camera, and we're here in the Mulwati in Djuma Game Reserve just admiring this owl. They are incredible owls, masters of camouflage. I don't quite know how BK spotted it, but he did, and you can see they just blend in, and that's exactly what this owl is Have you lost it now, BK? Exactly, there you have it, everyone. Masters of camouflage. And they're just roosting during the day, resting, so they want to blend in. They don't want to catch the attention of any birds of prey or raptors or any bird larger than them. They are quite large in size, but daytime is literally just for resting. They just look like the bark of a tree here. But luckily we know this spot. They're very territorial, the monogamous pair, which is why we see the same owls on this patch of the Mulwati every day. So we're going to continue our cruise down the dry riverbed.
So I'm just giving these elephants a bit of space, because what we want to do is, as we mentioned, we don't really want to influence their behavior, but also just give them space to do whatever they need to do. So I can see the little one there. So what I'm going to do from here is just slowly move back until we can find a comfortable spot just to watch the herd. Now I can see it now, and they have stopped moving towards us. So I'm just going to try and reposition for us so we can have a look. There we go. So all that happened there is the one female right in front of us. So there was a patch of water that was right next to us. So she basically took the herd and started making their way towards us. And all she wanted to do is just get to that little patch where she can have some water, and that's why we moved back. And you now see immediately, like, stop, and now they're digging for more water. Imagine how thirsty they must be as a herd like this as they were moving. And I'm sure probably at least every elephant here would have to eat quite a bit of food and eventually come down to the water to have a drink in the heat of the day.
Hello and a very warm welcome to and Beyond Pindar Private Game Reserve, where we've managed to find a lioness lying out in the open on this very windy afternoon. My name is Damon, and behind the camera this afternoon we've got Craig. And like I said, there's this lioness behind us. And just moments ago, we were watching her trying to hunt warthogs. There was quite a big group of them that came running through, but she was unfortunately unsuccessful. Now, I don't know if you can hear behind me or in the background, there's a lot of wind that's blowing very strongly. Michelle, you're asking how long a lion can go without a meal for. Michelle, I've heard of lions going without a meal for 10 days, maybe even a little bit more than that. But for a lion to go that long without food, Michelle, is going to be quite dangerous for them. Normally after about 3 or 4 days, you can start to see they get really skinny.
I do not know how long a Tsavo cat may go without a meal. I'm not sure it was this morning we had seen some kittens of a Tsavo cat, which he got here. And see how beautiful this one is. I guess she is hunting. Look at her body language. Look at the twitching of the tail. Move. Up. Look. Slowly. Look. Looks to see what she's hunting. They move very slowly. They're very discreet. But in the grass, you can't even hear them move because they do not want to surprise the prey, so they must move very quietly. Now, of all the cats that we got here in Africa of this size, this is my favorite cat. Look on her coat. Look at the different spots she got. Dark spots, like rosettes, straight, dark lines. She's like a mixture of a cheetah, a leopard, a jaguar. Daniel, I'll be finding out how fast a Tsavo cat can run, but they're not very fast runners. What they do, they pounce, just like the leopard. They tend to pounce on their prey. So they wait very patiently. Look at her right now, what she's doing. So she's looking, and what they do is either to jump, catch something in the air, like a bird. If it's a rodent or some sort of reptile, they just pounce it on the ground. Now, I was just talking about the coat, the dots, the lines, and the pattern on this particular cat. Kim, the way they have been designed, apart from the long body, they are also the cats that have the longest legs. Of all the cats in this size, the Tsavos have the longest leg. And I think through evolution, Kim, they have gotten that advantage to move. Look at how she's moving, to be able to jump very high, or if it's not up in the air, while on the ground, they can leap. But if it's jumping in the air, they can catch a bird in flight. See how discreet she is when she's moving. Very slowly. She also blends in very well. And Daniel, I've been able to find out. I mean, you'll be surprised, Daniel, that the Tsavo cats may run almost like lionesses. They may comfortably do about 55 miles an hour. Oh, did she catch something? I think she caught something. Let's see. Gonna see something in the mouth. Yes, she caught herself. That's a very good quick hunt. She caught a rodent, I guess. It could be a rat. It could be a mouse. So the first thing she has to do, she's pouncing on it, as you saw, and then bites the neck or the head, kills it before she can start devouring it. That was a very quick hunt. I'm sure she's going to pop up again. But Daniel, yes, I mean, a Tsavo cat can comfortably do 80 kilometers an hour. 80 kilometers an hour, that could be speed maybe covered by a lioness. But of course, short distances. I'm sure she could be strangling the prey now. What I'll do, I'll just hang on here for a few minutes. And as soon as she finishes, she'll either come up or I'll try and go closer when I'm sure she is comfortable.
My goodness, that must have been incredible to watch that serval hunting. But from one hunting cat to a slightly bigger cat that's also hunting, like we said, this lioness did try unsuccessfully a little while ago to catch some warthogs. And I've been talking quite a bit about the wind and how it's blowing very strongly. And what that means, just imagine for these warthogs, the wildebeest, the zebra that are moving through this area, if they walk into some of the thicker bushes behind that lioness, if they're in there and busy feeding, all of that wind, all the noise in their ears might make it a bit easier for this lioness to sneak up on them. Might also cause smells to be blown around quite a bit and make it difficult for prey animals to detect the danger or to detect danger. So I think it's definitely in our best interest to sit here for a bit and see what this lioness gets up to. We've already seen, since we last saw you, already another big group of warthogs has come right past her. It was just unfortunate that they were on the other side of her and she didn't quite manage to see them. But look how she's looking off into the distance. We'll see if she spots something.
Beautiful welcome to Tswalu Private Game Reserve, here where we got this beautiful zebra, and our temperature for today is 31 degrees 88 Fahrenheit. And of course, we're just going to be spend time with these animals, see what they do. And my name's Andrew on camera, that's Bior. So it's been a pretty warm day, and of course animals, this is what they want. And so they are very much, when it comes to this heat, they got to be close to the water hole. Of course, grass is very dry here, and as you can see, they're far from the water. Looks like the point of this water from now here, it's got to be Chitwa Dam, which is another like a kilometer for them to walk down and for them to dilute. That's very important. So it's not only one. Here, when we get here, there's a few of them, but they have moved into the wood. But again, they're one of the animals that they stick around with more than one species for animals. Impala was seen in this area. Again, for them to build a safety in a point of view, it's so important that everybody will look out. Important is very safe for most animals, most especially herbivores animals. Those are lonely or stick around alone, then they're vulnerable. For them to make sure there is no danger or could be anything hanging around to them, close to them, hunting them, they have to look out. And they spend a lot of time look out than feeding. That's for a safety. But of course, when they unite, they all trust one another, even though they're different species, because they rely on alarm call. If anyone spotted danger, of course, they rely on alarm call, and that single alarm call or twice will be actually pay a lot of attention by a lot of animals within the area here. And then that is the way for them to escape from the danger. And these are plain or birch zebra. When you look at the stripe of this animal, pretty unique. Zebra, these species of zebra, they have a shadow stripe. So we will leave them here, move on.
We were driving over a small rocky crest looking for a herd of buffalo, and we came across this small group of bulls taking shelter near a little rocky area underneath a very, very sparse corkwood tree. These are very old buffaloes, probably too old to be following the herd, but probably moved into the area, maybe could hear them or communicate with them and just following their scent trail. We're not so far from the eco-training camp, so almost certainly these buffaloes will make their way down a little bit later this evening once it starts to cool off to go and have a drink. But right now they mostly just want to wait in the shade, which is what almost every single animal we've seen has been doing, either walking through the shade or standing in the shade. Some of them have been feeding, but even these buffaloes are not ruminating at all right now. They're just literally standing as still as possible to save energy. In fact, right now, letting the oxpeckers do a little bit of cleaning. Sometimes welcome, sometimes not. Oh, the birds are doing their thing. So these buffaloes are probably not going to do a whole lot. Or maybe they will. Who knows?
Good afternoon, everyone. It is a beautiful afternoon here at Tswalu Kalahari. I want you to quickly have a look at this. Guys, my name is Moritz, by the way. Behind the camera, as always, we've got David. Look at that camouflage. So we were on our way back to where we left the female lion with the cubs and that one male that we had this morning. And we came across this little guy, a baby, what I believe is a Birchall sandgrouse. Mom's hiding just behind a little bit of a thicket, so we can't actually see where, confirm whether it's Namakwa or Birchall's, but I'm very, very certain it is a Birchall sandgrouse. But this must be the first first one I've seen for the season. So incredibly, incredibly cool and awesome to just be able to see how well that camouflage works. With Mom hiding a bit, we're not going to spend too much time with this little guy. I mean, he is perfectly hidden, and as far as his knowledge is concerned, we can't see him because we're not coming any closer or anything like that. But I mean, if you had to spot that just by driving, you would never have seen that. I wouldn't have.
There's a few other elephants that have joined up with the herd that was in the riverbed. So it started off as only as a couple of individuals, but later on, more and more elephants came down. And I wonder, maybe it was just the front part of the herd that we caught. But look at the size of this bull, and also notice his tusks. It looks like the left one is worn down quite a bit in comparison to the right. But look at what he's doing. It doesn't look like he's picking anything. I wonder if he's just not picking up the scent of a particular female. Oh, he's actually grabbing something. It might just be a root of some sort that he grabbed. Let's have a look. Because often what you see with elephants, especially with the bulls, is there's one that's just moved a big tree at the back as well. So what they do is they pick the roots, because especially this time of the year, there's quite a few trees that store a lot of their nutrients within the roots or in the bark. So they'll either strip the bark or push over the tree and then grab that root and then put that into it like their mouth and slowly chew off of it to get all the nutrients out of it. Now, as you mentioned, there's a few elephants, but I want you to have a look at the scene. So basically, if we move out, look at the river and look at all the elephants in the river. How incredible is that?
That's very true, Nikki. I mean, when the grass is pretty good, elephants will get to the very best, being 100% herbivores. Now, the Tswalu here is also almost 100%. I mean, the elephants are herbivores. This is a carnivore, but once in a while, Tswalu have been recorded to or been seen eating grass. Now, earlier, she caught a rodent, and I found out what she caught was a huge rat. And if you saw, she went very quickly and then pounced on it and used the forelegs just to land on her or on the prey and maybe gave it a few slaps because she disappeared in the grass and then either held it by the neck or the head, I'm guessing, and very quickly there she goes again. She must have had a bad calling. And what happens, as soon as the prey is dead, they very quickly swallow it. They do not wait so much time. They don't waste so much time with the prey because sometimes they're preyed on by hyenas or wild dogs. So they need to have eaten something and get the energy. You didn't get anything there. Brian, if what I think has happened after you were with me earlier, she caught a rat, and she has caught another one between that time and now, which is under 15 minutes. So I'm not surprised she's not chasing a bird. I doubt she'll be lucky. I'll not be surprised if she would eat 5 rats in a given hunting session. I will not be surprised. Because these cats happen to be very busy or active during the day and also at night. And one of their strongest senses is the sense of hearing. Very acute. They'll walk in the grass, stop, like now, because twitching the tail, listen very carefully, and they'll pick any movement of a rodent, even if it's a snake, any lizard, or some sort of big insect like a beetle, they're going to pick it up, and they go right there. That's exactly what she is doing. And if you listen, we've got some little birds there that are alarm calling, and they're making the alarm because of this Tswalu. Apparently, either today or yesterday, my friend Isaac saw a litter or kittens of Tswalu, which has been very special for us here in the Masai Mara to see the kittens and the adult that just disappeared, as I also disappear to another area to look for something else.
This lioness has been joined by a second one, everyone. So just off to her left, or the one that's in frame, who's lying like a sphinx at the moment, you might just be able to see the back of the head of another lioness concealed behind some guarri bushes. There she is. I see the little black spots behind her ears. And they're lying up here on the edge of a bit of a drainage line. Leanne, you're asking where the rest of the pride is. Well, Leanne, in this pride of lions, there's one other adult lioness and 3 sub-adult males, as well as 2 small cubs. And I think that one of these lionesses here is the mother of the 2 small cubs, just looking at her mammary glands and seeing the suckle marks on her, around her teats. So I wouldn't be surprised if those small cubs are not too far away from here. Leanne, I'm not 100% sure where the rest of the pride are. They could be nearby. But it's not unusual for lionesses within pride sometimes to just split up a bit in the search for food. But there goes that one, and she's going behind us. And just before she stood up, she seemed to have noticed something. And now she's just going down into the dip behind us there. And I wonder if maybe she hasn't seen something like a warthog going down into that riverbed. often, like I've said a couple of times, how windy it is. When it's so windy like this, lots of animals will go down into little ravines to try and get out of the wind, try and get some shelter. And maybe she spotted something moving around in the thickets below us. We haven't got a view of that second lioness just yet. Looks like she's going around. But this one with her back to us, they don't seem to be on the same wavelength. But Craig and I are going to maybe just move around and see if we can't get a better view of this whole scenario playing out.
So, okay guys, we are back with these very cute little cubs, mom and then one of the dominant males. It's still, we still don't know which ones exactly is Wu's father, because we saw the males mating with all the females, and likewise the other way around. There in the beginning, they didn't trust the males when they just came in, so there was quite a bit of false estrus going on and so on. But as you can see, it doesn't really matter to the cubs. That one is using dad or uncle's leg as a pillow. Very, very cute and very lazy still. It is nice and warm at the moment, so I don't think they're going to get up just yet. We might actually go around, see if we can find where the other lions that we left this morning and see what they're up to or so on. But yeah, guys, just remember, if you've got any comments or any questions at all, there's no such thing as a stupid question. Please feel free to either send it to us on the comment section in YouTube, or if you're on Twitter, use the hashtag WildEarth to get that through to us. And we'll definitely get back to you. Beautiful, beautiful. Also, if there's any kids' questions, you can do that at wildearth.tv. So all of the young and upcoming rangers, please send your questions there. Ugh, hard life, eh? Not a worry in the world. I remember when my brothers and I were this young, we weren't quite as peaceful. Fighting a lot more when we were little like this than what these little guys are doing. Guys, have a look quickly at those little spots on their legs with the cubbies. When they're very, very little, you'll see guys, what I wanted to say about those little spots on the cubs' legs, when they're very small, very, very small, you find all of those. So Rosalind just had a question: how loud can a lion roar? Rosalind, decibels, I'm going to lie to you if I tell you exactly how loud, but they say that we can hear them up to 5 kilometers away. So as humans, we can hear them up to 5 kilometers away. Now, I don't know if you've tried to shout for your friend 5 kilometers away. There is absolutely no way that my friend is going to hear me if I start shouting when they're so far away. When they talk to each other, they say that lions can hear each other up to about 8 kilometers away. But there's a lot of things that depends on on how far the sound carries, the temperature of the day and the wind direction and all of those things.
That lioness, turns out she had a little secret after all. Remember we said that the one lioness looked like she had some suckle marks under her belly? And that's exactly what she did. We thought that she was maybe stalking something, but she wasn't. She was going down into that ravine to go and fetch her 2 little cubs. And here they are. She's just brought them back up onto the edge of this little ravine. And look at how they're now busy suckling. Brenda, you're asking at what age will male lion cubs join a coalition? Well, Brenda, most of the time male coalitions form at this age and younger, when they're still cubs. So most of the time, Brenda, male coalitions form between brothers or siblings or brothers or cousins. When there's lion cubs of a similar age, all the little males that grow up playing together, they will normally all leave together when they all get pushed out by the dominant males. And that is how a coalition forms, Brenda. Within this particular litter, there's one little male and one little female. So that little female will stay with this pride for the rest of her life, but that young male will more than likely be pushed away when he gets to about 2.5 years old, and then probably have to he'll be alone. So he won't have that support of a coalition.
Yeah, exactly. Once the boys get a bit older, they'll always be shown the door, if not by the females, then by the dominant male. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I got a question for you, and I want you to give me your answer at FC in the comments section of the YouTube channel or hashtag World Earth. Which raptor do you think this is? Which raptor, bird of prey, you think this is? She is giving you all the clues. She's turning her head. She's opening her beak. She's showing you the back of her head. She does a bit of bobbing. And who do you think I am? Look at the eyes. Look at the color of the beak. Look at the tip. See how hooked the beak is. And remember, we're coming to you live from the Masai Mara, and I'll be waiting to hear your answers. Please tweet hashtag World Earth or at FC in the comment section of the YouTube channels. Which raptor do you think?
I cannot get enough of this. Hope same for you. This is not your everyday sighting, and so I am back with the mother Tswalu and her kitties. We always see them alone. We see them solitary. So to see them with kitties is something I cannot resist coming back again and again, because it is one in a lifetime, chance. This is a Tswalu cat. She's been here, I don't know for how long, but she is very comfortable right now with me and James. And I've just noticed that every time I have come here for the last few days, she's always been here. So I'm wondering when she goes hunting. That is a puzzle. It's a mystery. I don't know if she does that very early, but I was here very early this morning. I don't know if she does that very late or there is enough around. She just doesn't need to go very far. I still have to find out, about that. Right now, she's cleaning herself. Look at that. She looks quite mature, and I don't know how to tell or age, Tswalus, because I've never seen one for very long, like this long. They usually run away. She doesn't look like she's got any issues with her ears. Normally, cuts as they age. Their ears get tattered. They get facial markings from fights and aging. This one, she looks very clean. Yeah, like most cats, domestic cats, they live, quite a long time, up to around 12 years. But I don't know how old this one is. She's really cleaning herself. I'm hoping the little guys are going to come out. There they come. Yeah. Look at that. Yeah. Ooh. So beautiful. Yeah. Yeah, remember, this is live. It's coming to you from the Masai Mara. Continue talking to us. #WildEarth. Questions, comments are very, very welcome. Hope you're enjoying wherever you are. It is quite hot. I'm actually quite happy because I'm the driver and I could park in a way that the sun will not be directly roasting me. So I'm very happy about that. But it's very hot, almost 30 degrees Celsius here. And the sun is going down, but it's going to cool down. Remember, we're very close to the equator, almost 1 degree, 15 minutes south of the equator. So we're only about 150 kilometers south of the equator, so it can get very hot. And also the temperatures can drop really, really fast. I'm not going anywhere. Let's entertain you with something else, somewhere else.
How incredible would it be, for me as a ranger to be able to see a serval with kittens must be such an incredible experience. So I'm a little bit jealous there. However, how's this for a scene with some elephants? Now, the elephants were drinking earlier on, and after the drink, they slowly are starting to move away. And it might be that those lions we were looking for, remember this morning we saw those two big male lions that were lying down on the side here, for some of our viewers that have seen them. Now they have moved off, and I wonder, because maybe elephants would have come down to the water to drink like this, they could have seen them and moved into a denser area. But we'll have to go and have a look and see if we can find those lions. So Claire, 10 years old, so matriarch is basically the oldest, most experienced female that leads the herd. So she is the one that tells the herd, come on, let's go, we need to move. But she's also the one that has the experience and the knowledge to take this herd to water, to feeding areas. And especially you can see that in areas where there's not a lot of water or not a lot of food. And the whole herd depends on her knowledge and her understanding and her leadership in order to survive. So that would be the matriarch, the female that leads a group of elephants, and it's normally the oldest, most experienced cow that will be seen as the matriarch. This is quite a scene. The only thing we need is some hippos coming out of the water as these elephants are moving off. Now it might be that if they carry on like that and they do move off, we're not too far from the last area those lions were, so hopefully we can go and then see if we can find them. These elephants have now moved to the back, and notice what they are doing. So let's try and see if we can get slightly closer. But after a nice drink at the back, the water is, because of how warm it is, and a lot of the water is evaporating out of this water hole, the area at the back is becoming more and more muddier. So there's still some moisture in there. It's not like dried. But it's like this thick slush at the back, and so now they're using that to cool themselves down. So like earlier on we saw those elephants using cold sand, but in this case is using cold mud onto their backs. And as we mentioned, you'll notice there's a few bigger trees on the side of this waterhole. So imagine now, even after these elephants have splashed themselves full of mud, and as soon as there's a bit of a breeze blowing over us, which you might even see the ripples in the waters, there is a breeze, cools them down, it hardens, they'll go and rub up against those trees to get rid of those parasites. So it has a lot of value for them. And there's also some interesting birds right in front of us. There's a whole group of guinea fowl that are coming down to drink. So just to show you here, like, it's amazing. Sometimes around a waterhole is one of the best places in order to be doing some birding. Now, look at the color of these ones. So they have spots all over, and they look like they have these bluish faces with these reddish wattles, and then a horn on top of the head. Well, it looks like a horn, that helmet. They're now heading down for a drink.
So after leaving that small group of bachelors, we ascended the top of this crest, looking down over the valley, and found the rest of the herd slowly moving off the crest. They must have been here during the heat of the day, trying to catch a bit of a breeze underneath some of the taller trees and bushes. And now that the sun is coming in from an angle, and it is probably going to start cooling soon, they are going to start making their way down into the valley, closer to where Ndlovu Dam is, and maybe go and have a drink at our camp. Be awesome if they did. So this is that same group that we've been seeing over the course of a few months here at Pride Lands. About 50 buffaloes in this group, although it changes sometimes to be slightly more or slightly less. Helen, I believe that it is quite a good indicator. So what tends to happen is buffaloes come together into areas, into bigger herds in areas where they can find enough food. So at the moment, with the water in front of our camp and at Leopard Dam, there's still a little bit of green vegetation in the drainage lines, and so I think the buffaloes are hanging out in this herd of about 50, and they're able to find enough nutrition. If they weren't able to, you'd find them having to move further. Remember, we are open to the Greater Kruger National Park, and so any of these buffaloes could head all the way north into the Kruger to find better grazing if it was necessary.
Well. Mama Saval is really cleaning herself. Looks like she's getting ready to leave. When, I don't know, but she looks like that's what she's doing. Look at that beautiful face. Remember, this is a wild cat found in mostly this kind of habitat. It's called wooded savanna. From Kenya all the way to Southern Africa, it's found. Very, very rare. Yeah, look at that. You see how big she is? She can get up to around 6 to 10 kilos. And they can live for up to 12 to 15 in the wild. They say, sometimes 20 in captivity. But that, means that they have an easy life. I don't know if she's thinking of leaving, but she's looking at something. Look at that face. I'll leave you to enjoy that face for a little bit.
Well, you just saw the savo-cat that I had, and I think we're very lucky to have had 2 savo-cats in the same drive. Myself and Isaac, and also Isaac seeing the kittens. Kittens are quite rare to see for savo-cats. We know they're always there, but I think to see the one I had hunt, that was very special to see it hunt. James, Samantha, thank you very much for the feedback on my quiz on what eagle that was. But I think, James, you got it right. That was the Western Banded Snake Eagle. Very well done. I'll very quickly show you how she looks like in the book. And we rarely see them. The second time I'm seeing her in a long time. So what I want you to do is bottom left, right there. Thank you very much. This one here is what we just saw, and it's the Western Banded Snake Eagle. You must have seen the dot, the black pupil there and the yellow, but the most striking or the most important character or characteristic to look is this yellow here and the hooked beak. Thank you very much, James. Western Banded Snake Eagle.
These two little lion cubs have finished their bout of suckling, and now with tummies full and no doubt very content having mum coming back after she's no doubt been away for a few hours hunting, they're feeling comfortable and just lying up on the edge of this ridge with their mother, and then their aunt nearby too. Mom's still looking down into that little ravine. It's been quite interesting to see how many warthogs have come out of there so far, but unfortunately they've all been downwind of the lions, and so the lions haven't noticed them, but the warthogs have all smelt the lions and gone running in the opposite direction. But really awesome to have gotten to see this lioness initially lying out in the open, and then to watch her come down here into this ravine to come and fetch her cubs, and then to have seen those little ones come running out and then start suckling from their mother. Mom's still being quite vigilant, quite alert, and looking up onto the far bank. There's a bit of a burnt area there with some fresh grass that's going to start coming through soon. Some of it's already coming through with a bit of a sprinkle of rain that we had, and so there'll be lots of grazing animals coming down to feed there. But what a fantastic afternoon it's been so far from the 7 different locations across Wild Earth. And it's been fantastic having all of your questions and comments. And please do keep sending them through. Craig and I are going to sit here and see what happens with these lions the rest of the afternoon.
So from one set of lions to another set here at Ngala. And now remember, especially on Ambion Ngala, we have quite a dominant pride that we refer to as the Birmingham pride. So it's the pride of 18 lions, including the 2 dominant ones. Now the 2 that we are looking at now is not part of that pride. So these are 2 other males that have moved into the reserve early on this morning, and they were roaring quite a bit. But you can see, especially the one on the right, if we look at some of the features in comparison to the ones that we see more often, is you'll notice that this one is also quite light in color, but it doesn't have as big or impressive mane as the one right next to it. Still looks like it might be a youngish male that is with an older male, but hopefully the other one we'll be able to see more clearly soon. But definitely a few scars. He's been in a fight or 2. Just look at how peaceful it is. Eyes closed, ears are pricked up just to listen if there's anything that moves around, and the one foot crossed over the other. Just see also the pads underneath, soft pads, probably as they are moving, just so it doesn't make a lot of noise. And if you look behind its elbows, you'll see there's quite a bit of darkish mane coming out, but it's incredible the 2-tone color within that one's mane. Now if you move slightly to the left, notice the mane on his brother. Now it might be that there could be a few branches in the way, so because we don't necessarily have the best view of that one, But just look at the size of this one's head, as well as how full that mane is, all the way, stretches all the way back to behind the shoulders.
So guys, we've also got two relatively passed out male lions at the moment. These are different ones than the ones that you just looked at, by the way. But as you can see, out for the count. But now I quickly want to show you this, that one on the left-hand side. Have a look at how he's lying on his back. So for those of you who were watching this morning, he's the guy who was vocalizing so loudly and, really stamping off his authority. He also got most of the meat off the kill before it was finished. So you can see a nice and round belly. And because of that, he's currently creating quite a bit of body heat, digesting all of that meat inside of his stomach. So with that being the case, he's overheating. Even on a relatively mild day, he's overheating quite a bit. And that is why he's lying on his back like that, to open up his belly to the breeze, so that a lot of that, excess body heat that's created right around the belly area can get taken away by the breeze, and in that particular way they cool down. For those of you who were with us the other time that I spoke about the heat window, this is a perfect example of a lion using that, that particular pose and exposing what we call the heat window, that white belly. I know this male doesn't, the belly doesn't look very white, but they've been lying in the red sand, so that's making the whiteness of the belly a little faded. But you can see how he's opening that up, and when for those of you who have cats and dogs at home, or either or, you would have seen them at some point on a warm day lie like this as well. The one on the right hand side, however, he got just bits and pieces, so he's not nearly creating as much heat digesting at the moment, and that's why you find him lying flat on his side as well. I think also it's a bit more comfortable for them lying on their backs like that when their belly is that full, because then it balances out the weight. When they're lying on the one side, either the liver is getting squashed or the pancreas are getting squashed on the other side. So this way everything just falls into place when there's 40 kilograms of meat resting on top of it. But yeah, quite the interesting pose. Oh, it looks like this guy is going to follow soon. The one on the right hand side, you can just see him throwing his head over. I'm not quite in the mood to roll over yet. And yeah, guys, so this one that we're looking at currently, that's the one that's probably the least dominant of the four males that we have in this area. So that's also why he doesn't get the lion's share when it comes to eating and all of that. And you can actually see it on his condition when you compare the two with one another. This one is a bit more skinny. I mean, he's still in good condition, but he's definitely not that full. He doesn't have that filled out look that the one has on the left hand side. So yeah, now he's cooled down enough. Now it's the other guy's turn.
Either it could be because, it's rather hot, and I'm trying to guess, it could be very hot the whole of Africa, because even here in the Mara, it's rather hot this afternoon. Now, we got this pig here, or this warthog. If you look at him carefully, he's right inside the water. Again, talking of the heat, of talking how hot it is. Are you cooling your feet, sir? Are you going to lie down there or have a drink, or both? Let's see. You don't have to dirtify the water. Are you making it comfortable? Oh, how lovely. How sweet is that? And look at how is and if you look at the youngsters or the lambs of these impalas, they're not feeding. My guess is because of the heat of the day. It's rather hot for them. And the only thing they could be doing is to chew the cud. And the warthog is taking a snooze. And in a very difficult or rather awkward position, because behind him is a thicket of bushes. And if a predator would come out of that, orange leaf crotons basically, it could very easily to bring him down. And I'm talking most likely a leopard. This is one area we have seen one particular female called Romy. Bruno, I'm guessing the warthog could run about 40 kilometers an hour. Bruno just holding going to confirm for you. But they look like to have very short legs, but they're very fast. And if scared, they just take off. And if, for example, they're in their hole, they normally go into the hole backwards. He just rose up. Not sure that was enough period to be in that jacuzzi. It was a very short time. And maybe he needs to eat more. I think, they do about 30 miles an hour. 30 miles an hour. That's the speed of warthogs, and 30 miles is very fast. I'm talking about 70, almost 70 kilometers an hour, possibly. Yeah, I mean, it's 30 miles an hour and about 70 kilometers per hour. They're very fast animals. Though, Bruno, they do not run for very long distances before they stop. The first defense normally is always to fight. If you say it's a predator that's very close and just waiting by the hole, as I said, they go in the barrel backwards, come out full force, and a male like this, they got very strong watts and would hit any predator that would be, and of course, take off and run as fast as he could. Sometimes when you see them feeding on the grass or digging tubers or roots, you may notice they tend to bend their front feet. And that way, they're able to reach to the very bottom, grass or tubers or roots they're looking for, but also it gives them a good leverage to dig out whatever they want to eat. In general, warthogs are always very skittish, but this one has given us very good airtime with the impalas just next door.
Yes, you never see a warthog staying still for very long. It's like they were told, when you see humans, get out of that area. Back to my servals, and they seem to have lost a bit of steam. They're not jumping as they were, but Mom has relocated slightly, still cleaning herself. Oh, there comes one of the kitties. What are you gonna do with your sister or brother? It's very hard to identify them or sex them when they're this young. But, in the coming weeks, maybe if they'll be around, we'll be able to tell you if they're males or females. Are you gonna come out of the light? No. This is a very safe place that this mother serval has chosen. The reason is it's got a nice, veranda, I would call it. It's like a U, so they can play around there. They're protected from either side, and they can look forwards. They have a nice balcony overlooking the plains where I am, and then they can go back in where they're heading there for safety reasons. It's a very good spot. Yeah, remember, this is not your everyday sighting. It is very rare. It's one of a kind. People come to Africa, people come to Masai Mara, even 10 times and never see a serval cat. So I hope you're really appreciating this because of one good reason. It is live. It is right now. Liam, you ask how many cat species we have in the Mara. Okay, I'm gonna count with you. We start with lion, then leopard, then cheetah, although it's not a true cat. Then we have the serval, then we have the caracal, then we have the African wildcat. Those are 6. Those are the ones I can positively tell you that I know are found here in the Mara. So, I don't know if you remember, there are 6 of them: lion, leopard, cheetah, serval, caracal, and African wildcat. The serval and the African wildcat are 2 of the most rarest. You rarely see them together. I think the third one will be the caracal. So we have 6 species of cats here, although, we have very many, small carnivores, like mongooses who, resemble cats, janets also that resemble cats, but they're not true cats. Okay, I'm going to move on. I'm going to leave you to enjoy this for a little bit. Then I'm going to go find something else.
So you'll see the one brother, the one with the bigger mane, or I don't even know if they're brothers. The one looks older than the other, so it might not even be brothers, maybe half brothers. But he has moved slightly to the front. But look at how big his mane is. You'll see that it actually stretches around his elbow. So remember the one earlier on? We only saw a little patch behind the elbow. Now this one forms a ring that runs from the back of the elbow all the way around to the front. And also look at the size of his paw. What I'd like to do is just focus right in the middle, just to show you the 3 pads that we often talk about when we talk about a lion paw. Now, do you notice, let's say if you look at the bigger pad, so the one closer towards its body, you'll see there's 3 lobes at the back, and then the 4 toes in front. So when you follow lions, those are the tracks you look out for. And what distinguishes them from hyena tracks is, of course, size. This will be a big track if we had to follow those tracks. But size is a big thing. And then with hyenas is they don't have the 3 lobes at the back, only 2, and then sharper claws. Or not sharper claws, but claws that actually stick out and not retracted like this lion we can see. But look at his... Do you notice the right leg behind the elbow? There's a... It looks like a scratch. Raphael, I have never heard a lion purring like a domestic cat. I don't think they are capable of doing it like, maybe, I don't know, if some of our viewers have heard about it before or seen it, but my personal experience, I've never heard a lion purring. What I have, though, from some of the big cats is a cheetah. And if I'm not mistaken, that might be the only of the big cats that is capable of purring. This male has definitely been in fight. So notice that scar on the elbow, and then if we follow the body down, let's go to the back legs. I just wanted to point out another scar. You'll see on the back leg, just where the tassel is on the tail, just above that, you'll notice there looks like a bit of pink. So that's another scar right there.
We've came across a huge herd of buffalo. I wonder if it's the same herd we keep seeing grazing and then heading to a water point, grazing and heading to a water point every single day. We spent the last 45 minutes scratching around for Tlalamba. Tristan had it this morning, and sadly the Mulwati is just too hot for her. Very little shade, and she's no longer there. So we're going to head to the Nkuhumas, if they're still in the same place. But coming across this herd of buffalo is very interesting because, of course, lions follow buffalo. They are so noisy, and it's not even just a None of them responded. That mustn't have been very good. But it's not just their vocalizations, it's just the noise of the herd trampling on the pastures, moving, rustling. It's very loud, especially when you've got about, I think this herd could be pushing 500. It's a huge mega herd, and therefore they can't travel silently. They're also very smelly, so the lions will be able to sort of track them by scent. So I'm wondering, they are heading towards sort of Gallagher Pan. I'm wondering if they'll end up back at Gowrie Dam, which is exactly where we were last night. And the lions may come back into Juma and try once again. See, they're just everywhere through the vegetation. No matter which direction I look, there's buffalo. And they just keep moving between sort of Buffelshoek, back down again, Buffelshoek, back down again. But these seem to be the old boys. These seem to be the Daga boys that are staying behind. They're traveling with the herd, these ones here, but they are staying behind. They look old. You can see they've got patches of hair missing. They're walking slowly. They just generally look like old bulls, and that's exactly what Daga boys are. So we're going to now head on round to the lions and see if they're there.
Well, back to the Mara, and here we have a beautiful breeding herd with some tiny little ones. They are about 3. You're just about to see them. James is going to show you one after the other, but these guys are so small they can fit underneath their mom. They say when they can do that, they are less than 1 year, but they are even actually less than 6 months. All of them, there are 3 of them scattered everywhere. I would say they're between 2 and 3 months. Look at this guy. He doesn't know what to do with the trunk. He's really trying. Look at that. What a beautiful light. Can't ask for, better light than this. You can see all the details in the little guy. Before, she was under mom trying to get some shade. Yeah, do we have another one? There we are. Is that lying down? Yes, too tired. They do that, and I can, oh, he has disappeared. That's how small, he is, or she is. I'm sure they still, they still want to rest because they've been resting for almost 2 years in their mother's tummy. So they get tired when they walk too much. Oh, this guy already is trying to use the trunk. Wow, that's really good. Yeah, I saw, that was, I think, very good. He pulled out some grass and actually is trying to chew. Amazing. Yes, there is plenty of grass for them to feed on this time of the year because we've just had plenty of short rains. So everything is nice and soft. Look at the view from where I am. This is how the Masai Mara looks, and it looks like this right now. The temperature is dropping. The view is just amazing. Yeah, you want to get up, the little guy? Remember to talk to us, hashtag Wild Earth. Pile, it differs from one time to the other. When it is raining and there's lots of shrubs, they go for small trees because they're only seasonal. Then later on in the year, they go for other trees that are actually, they grow annually. They're always there. So they go back into the trees and eat those. But it varies from one time to the other. I would say there's no specific tree they like because different trees have got different conditions at different times of the year. So they're always at a specific area depending on the type of leaves or tree that they want to eat. But over here at the moment, they want to eat the grass. Yes, I'm gonna enjoy a little bit. I'm gonna spend a little bit of time with these guys and then move on, try and find something else.
Well, elephant favorite tree to eat, the favorite food for these birds of prey here are snakes. And it's a beautiful bird to watch. The secretary birds, or sometimes we call them the hunters birds, coming from the French, Sagittaria. Sometimes we call them Sagittaria serpentarius, and serpentarius coming from serpent, because they have been known to hunt snakes with a lot of ease. My guess is a male and a female. They look to be more or less the same size. Sometimes rather difficult to tell them apart. But in general, for the secretary birds, the males are slightly larger in size than females. That one got her beak open, and I think this continues to explain the heat of the day today. And maybe going up there, it will help them cool off on that huge bosquet tree. Apparently, the secretary bird spend most of their time terrestrially. They're always on the ground feeding, but of course, once in a while, like all birds that can fly, will be up on top of trees, like this one here. Very fast. Remy, looking at the secretary birds, they could be anything from 60 centimeters in terms of height and sometimes going to 90 centimeters. They got, apparently, Remy, the longest legs of birds of prey. Of all birds of prey, Remy, that we got in Africa, the secretary birds got the longest legs. And of course, they use them easily to hunt. You'd see them how they shoot their legs like beaks when they're trying to subdue their would-be prey. Look at the feathers on the head. That makes them ever, ever beautiful. Their closest, I would say, relatives are eagles. I actually call them ground eagles. Yeah, the one on the right seems to be suffering from the heat. She got her beak open and not the one on the left. And just my guess is because of how hot it is here. You remember we saw the savo-cat hunting. They have a similar way of hunting using their feet, which helps them a lot. Their long legs makes it easy for them to walk in the grass. And then for takeoffs, because sometimes they're preyed on by other bigger birds of prey, it's very easy for them to run. And from a very short distance, just take off from the ground. My guess is the one on the left could be the male. He looks a little bit larger than the one on the right. And I'm sure as soon as they have a little bit of a break, they'll be flying down and continue feeding before it gets dark.
So we've got some birds that are not flying away right now. What we've got is those two Egyptian geese from this morning, and they've been joined by a yellow-billed stork, which is not a very common bird. They're not rare, but you don't see them too often. It's quite interesting to see the geese so close to this large stork. I have no doubt that the stork could definitely eat chicks of an Egyptian goose, should there have been chicks, but there aren't any. But see, the stork is so much larger than the geese. The geese are actually moving off. They've got no reason to defend themselves right now. But this stork is now probably going to be going into the water to hunt for some frogs. Now, we watched two of these yellow-billed storks the other day being very successful, walking through the water and using their feet to disturb small frogs then as the frogs are disturbed, they'd catch them. We literally watch them catch at least 10, maybe 15 frogs. Watch this, watch this. So it's using its very sensitive bill. As soon as it feels movement, it will snap its bill shut and hopefully pluck out a frog. It's very, very fast when it happens, though. So it's not filter feeding, like a spoonbill, for example. It is literally just with its bill open, waiting to feel something touch its mandibles and then snap its bill shut. They don't hunt like herons, not that I've seen anyway, stabbing their bill forward. They use that long, much heavier bill to just sweep in the water from side to side. The bill in the head is much larger than a heron. A heron is much more streamlined, so it can shoot its bill forward much easier. This bird is much heavier, so it's not using quite the same technique. I don't know where the second one is. There was two before. They're usually in a pair. Maybe the other one is sitting on the tree or on the other side of the dam. I don't know. We can't see it from here very clearly. Rosalind, I'm glad you asked that question. I've been actually trying to count the number of different birds that I can see. So since I've been doing the Wild Earth drives here on Pride Lands, I have managed to count 101 different species. Now, it has been the depths of winter, which is the most difficult time for birding. So we're coming into the spring and summer, much more birds. The migrant birds will start arriving. So I think that I could probably get a list of more than 150 to 200 different birds. And now those will be the commonly found ones. There'll be lots and lots of birds that are much less commonly found, or even moving through the areas. So maybe the list could be top 250. It all depends on how good a birder you are, I suppose. I consider myself a fairly good birder, but I don't put as much practice in as I could. Oftentimes seeing those little brown jobs flying past, and you sort of think, oh, it could have been this or it could have been that, but I didn't really see it. If you went, crawling on your hands and knees into the undergrowth to follow that little brown bird, you'd be able to identify it, and maybe the list would be even higher. The Kruger National Park, I think, has a list of somewhere near 400 different species, so it stands to reason that maybe a lot of those could be found here. We don't have forests, though, or mountains, so those particular birds might not be found here, but they're not so far. Well, we're going to wait here with this bird and see if he catches anything for lunch.
Hello again from and beyond Phinda, where we're still sitting with these two little cubs, their mother and their aunt. And once again, my name is Damon, and behind the camera this afternoon is Craig. And it's amazing how quickly things can happen when you're sitting with resting lions. Like we said, these lionesses do look like they're on the hunt for food. And we have seen a couple of times a couple of different groups of warthogs coming through. And just a moment ago, it was unbelievable. We looked down for a second. The lioness was sitting with her cubs and all appeared calm. And we looked up, and the next thing, the lioness was gone, and she was down in that riverbed, busy stalking something. And the other lioness also started to stalk, but it appears that whatever it was that got their attention has now moved off, and both lionesses have relaxed. The cubs are now looking like they're starting to get a little bit more active. They've had a bit of a rest after suckling from mum, and it looks like they're starting to move around and play. Look at that cub that's now standing up, looking down into the riverbed. That's exactly where its mother disappeared. And no doubt looking to see where she's gone. Shame the poor... Oh, sorry. Just swallowed a bug. Lune, you're asking at what age lions are fully grown? Well, Lune, for a male, it's normally only at about between the age of 5 and 7 years. So while a young cub or a young lion, when it gets to the age of between kind of 2 and 3 or 2 and 2.5 years old, when it gets pushed away from the pride, it will still not be fully grown. And that young male, hopefully with his brother or his cousin, coalition mates, they'll have to wander as nomads and keep growing until they're big enough to go and challenge for territory of their own, and that's normally only when they're about between 5 and 7 years old. So quite a long process in terms of growing into their full size. But look at how intently those two little cubs are staring now down into that little valley. And shame, the one poor little cub tried to get up and go up to its aunt, the lioness that's lying on our side of the ravine. And the little cub was so excited, and it toddled up to the lioness and jumped on her as it would do with its own mother. Unfortunately, it received not a welcoming head rub or a lick, but a bit of a menacing growl. And that sent the poor little cub scurrying back to its sibling. And it feels like the wind is slowly starting to die down from behind us. And like I said, there's been a continuous stream of animals that have been coming through this area. And I think the longer we wait here, since we've been here, there's already been, like I said, 3 or 4 groups of warthogs that have come past. And I'm sure it's only a matter of time before one animal comes down on the right side of the wind for the lions. The wind is kind of blowing from this lioness's left shoulder to the right-hand side of the screen. So they'll be wanting something to come from upwind, from a direction where they will be able to smell the approaching potential prey species, but where it won't be able to smell them. So like I said, Craig and I are going to sit here for a little bit longer just to see what happens, and if anything changes, I will be sure to let you know.
Well, our biggest antelope here in Kenya and also in Africa. This is the eland. A very healthy female you see there on the frame. And there comes another one and another one. All of them look like they're carrying young ones. They look very expectant. Oh, decided to go to the bathroom. That is a male. He's been attracted by the urine, and usually they do that to detect if the female is active or she's coming into season. And I think in this case it will be 0. No, he's not lucky, because looks like in this herd a lot of females are very expectant. That is a very big bull. You see him there. They tend to get gray or darken as they age, and also they grow that tufty, hair on the forehead. This is a very big antelope, only preyed on basically by lions when they're fully grown, young ones by hyenas, leopard, and wild dogs do prey on them. Here they're enjoying the grass. There is plenty of that, and also leaves, and these are very beautiful, small size herd. Thank you very much, James. As you can see, they're spread out. Oh, together they're joined by zebras. This is our common zebra, also known as the Burchell's zebra. This looks like it's a mixture of males and females. Really healthy. Look at those colors. Doesn't get better than that. This is a very common, grazer we have here in the Mara, especially this time of the year. During the migration, we have quite a large number of them. You can never go for a couple of hours without seeing a nice big dazzle. You see how many there are. They're everywhere. They're spread out all over. Very many. Yeah, looks like a very expectant female there also. Yeah, zebras give birth year-round, so we're always seeing young ones every time. There's no tension here. You can tell by the twitching of the tail, the movement of the tail. Yes, I'm gonna move on from here, see what else I can offer you. Yeah, because we can always, show you something else from our different location.
we're with the Nkuhumas. But there's something really special that I do want to show you before that. And it's very exciting. I'm just going to put it here. Okay, BK, work your magic. Now, this is a looper caterpillar. Okay, and we don't normally see them until summer rolls around the corner. And if you look, it's different from a normal caterpillar. I'm just going to put my hand here to stop him sort of going the wrong way. You're able to count. There is 6 legs on the thorax at the front. So it's 3 pairs and 2 pairs of legs at the back. So this is called a looper, and basically it can be a moth or a butterfly. We don't know that yet. And they're sort of stretching out and hunching, and they drag themselves along. So it's completely different from any other type of caterpillar. And what they're doing is hydraulically pulling themselves along. They're not actually using any muscle power like other caterpillars do. They're using hydraulics, which is, see, looping itself up. Isn't that so cool? You can see the front. There we go. You can see the front has 3 legs on each side, which is 6, and the back has 2. And this is what is a unique feature of a looper caterpillar. And because they are designed on hydraulics, what this means is if this caterpillar got a puncture by a thorn or a spine or something punctured this body, it's not going to be able to walk, because all the liquid, the sort of hydraulic system, is going to be destroyed. Whereas if the other type of caterpillars got a puncture, they would be able to move. Oh, dearie me, he's fallen. But we do have the Nkuhumas, or at least we have Purple Eye and some cubs behind us. They are very flat and sleepy. Samantha, I'm completely with you on that one. It's so creepy, but it's cute. I know what you mean, creepy crawlies. But I'm absolutely fascinated by the world of butterflies and moths. I think they're one of the most interesting organisms that we have on the planet. Butterflies and moths are obviously grouped together in a family called Lepidoptera, which is actually Greek for scaled wings because, well, they have scales on their wings. And they're both very, very similar. Although they have their differences, they are similar, and they are just incredible. But the looper caterpillars in particularly are wonderful. So I just thought I would show you that. We're hoping that our lions wake up soon. I've noted Purple Eye already, who's walking fine. The last time I saw Purple Eye, she was very badly injured. We've got a heap of cubs, a puddle of cubs. And I believe the rest of the pride are at Simbambili Dam. So I wonder if in the next 30, 40 minutes they might get up. And if they are really hungry, well, we know where the buffalo are. It didn't quite go to plan last night, but it really would be wonderful to see this pride on a big kill. I would imagine they've eaten since last night, but I think it's probably been a small meal. Maybe an impala that probably didn't really fill up everybody's tummy. So hopefully it's going to get a little bit cooler soon for all of us, BK, myself, and the Nkuhumas.
Waiting here at Ndlovu Dam, and it's always a success story, isn't it? Having a bit of patience. Here comes an elephant bull down to the water. He's having a bit of a drink now. We've had a duiker. We've been watching the yellow-billed stork. We've been watching some small birds coming down as well. And I'm sure the buffalo herd is also going to make its way down here as the sun starts to make its way down. It's interesting. This is a young elephant bull, old enough to be on his own, but strange. We don't often see young elephant bulls like this on their own here at Pride Lands. They're usually accompanied by 4 or 5 others at least. So I wonder if there are not more that are going to make their way down soon. Oh, that was interesting. It literally blew the water into its mouth with quite a lot of pressure. Perhaps it's just brushing its teeth. I don't know. Look what it's doing. It doesn't seem to like that water very much. It was splashing around there just a second ago. You see, it keeps sucking it up and then spraying it. It's almost like it's tasting it. I wonder if I don't know. Can elephants taste water with their trunk? I think they must be able to, because you often see them sucking up a bit of water and then sort of spraying it out and then move to a different point and suck it up and spray it out. So I wonder, they must be able to taste the water, or at least smell if it's good. What's it doing? So you see what it's doing? That's literally sucking water into the trunk and then spraying it into its mouth, liters and liters at a time. While we've been watching this elephant, the second yellow-billed stork has come down to join the first at the water. So now the pair is here. So I was saying earlier, there's usually a pair of them. Now they're both there. Elephant's deciding he doesn't like that water very much. It has been a very hot day though, so can't really be too fussy. Kim Hangwa, I'd say elephants, depends on their size, definitely. But I think probably somewhere around 100 liters of water to 200 liters of water per day. It all depends on the size of the elephant. We often talk about, I did a bit of research and I found out that it's about 5% of an elephant's body weight, or any animal's body weight, they must consume in water per day. So if an animal is 1,000 kilograms, that would be, 50 liters of water, roughly speaking. So an elephant is probably weighing about 4 tons. This elephant here, maybe like 3 to 4 tons. So that's, 100 to 200 liters of water, I think, is a pretty good estimate. That's obviously the maximum amount. They can probably deal with a lot less. But I'd say it's a lot of water. Each trunk holding about 5 to 10 liters.
We've all had our hearts in our throats. Look at how this lioness is sitting up and looking across the little ravine. There's been a young warthog that for some reason has been milling about on the other side. And what we can't see... Oh, the warthog is coming back. The warthog is coming back. Look at how this lioness is watching it. The second lioness is lying somewhere between her and the warthog. That was the last place that I saw it. Just beneath that white, fallen over dead tree on the right-hand side of your screen. That's the last place where I saw the warthog. And it's moving from right to left. And like I said, somewhere between the lioness that we can see and that warthog is the second lioness. Now, she's asleep. She doesn't know the warthog's there. But if the warthog just goes a little bit more to the left and gets upwind of the lioness, she'll definitely smell it. Or maybe even hear its hooves on the ground. And it's the same warthog that keeps coming back to this thicket. I don't know if perhaps now with the sun starting to set, this warthog is trying to get back to its burrow. And maybe here in this ravine is where its burrow is. And these lionesses have positioned themselves right at the entrance to it. But this lioness that's in front of us now, the one that's sitting up, she's been watching this warthog maybe for the last 5-10 minutes or so, coming in and out. And the warthog is obviously, it comes back and then it obviously gets a whiff of lion scent, and it moves out, but then it keeps coming back. Well, it's now somewhere just out of sight on the other side of the riverbank. Oh, I can see it again. I can just see its back sticking out above some of the yellow grass there. Very difficult to see just based on how long the grass is and how small the warthog is. But if that other lioness, the one that's on the other side, if she wakes up and she somehow realizes that the warthog is there, things could go quite badly for the warthog, let's put it that way. One of the little cubs is coming across to greet the lioness. Here it comes. Just behind this bush for now. I'm sure it will come out and join the lioness soon. And again, I've lost sight of where this warthog has gone. But it's... Oh, here comes the cub coming up to the lioness. from the right-hand side of the screen. There it is. Oh, lying down, not wanting to. Maybe it's the same cub from earlier that got the snarl from the lioness. It's learned its lesson and not going to pester its aunt again. Just trying to see through my binoculars what the second lioness is doing. Okay, she's awake, but she's looking towards... The warthog is right behind her. Oh my goodness. You just need to turn around, lioness. The warthog is right behind the second lioness. Can't be more than 30 meters from her. But every time it moves, this lioness gets all excited. Look at her. Look at her. Flattening her ears out. Trying to cover herself with that quarry bush in front of her. There's the warthog on the left-hand side of the screen. Oh, and the other lioness is literally right there by it, but she hasn't noticed it yet. Look at how intense she is. We don't even need to see her face, but looking at how tense her body language is. Look at how her ears are pricked and facing forwards. That warthog is going to stand on the lioness. Oh my word, it's coming right towards her. It's literally going to stand on that lioness. If it takes another 10 steps forward. How it's not smelling these lions, I don't know. The wind is blowing. It feels like it's blowing over our backs towards them. But look at the warthog. Look at how it's looking around. Listening and lifting its nose into the wind. It's obviously getting the scent of lion. Perhaps these lions have been in this little ravine for quite some time now and their scent is all over the place. But still the second lioness has no idea the warthog is there. She's got her eyes closed and she's facing towards us. I can just imagine this lioness in front of us must be screaming in her mind to her sister, turn around, turn around. The warthog's right there. It keeps... Oh, it's going to turn around again. Oh my goodness. Being very cautious though, this warthog. Look at how it keeps stopping. Its ears are swiveling all over the place. Lifting its nose into the wind. And remember I said earlier, with a strong breeze, it can be quite tough for animals to determine the direction or where smells are coming from. The strong wind blowing the scent all over the place. And again the warthog's turning around. Oh, look, even the cub. Even one of the cubs has now also spotted the warthog. And it's also taken on that same body language as its aunt. Its ears are out to the side. It's got its head low, trying to keep a low profile. That little cub, your mother across the ravine is still fast asleep and hasn't even realized that there's been a warthog literally can't be more than 15 meters away from her. I think if she were awake and she'd seen that and she'd known that that warthog was there, it might have been over for the little warthog. So I suppose a lucky escape for the warthog. Whew. And our heart rates can come down a little bit. My goodness. It seems like that warthog is going off into that tambuti thicket behind where it was standing. But the lioness is still looking in that direction. And it will be interesting to see what happens here, because this warthog has literally come back to the spot 3, 4, 5, maybe even 6 times now. So we'll see if it does come back here again. But this lioness is still super intent in terms of how she's looking. And so after all of that, I think Craig and I, we're gonna keep up our vigil here, just to see if that warthog does come back again. And of course, if it does, we'll be sure to let you know.
Beautiful back here in this area of Djuma again. So we spend a lot of time tracking this cat down. Looks like a lamb again to me. So when I look at her, it looks like, I know she was seen in an area this morning down in the Tswalu River, where the guys have returned in the area and they failed to find her. I think she had changed position from there, what I understand. And then again, we tracked her and we found her right there where she's just lying down. And then when we track her down, looks like she was busy, after something during the day, and see where she was running some of the tracks. And the final tracks lead us down here. We're actually just south of Gari Dam right now. Look at that. A lot of time when a cat's yawn, sign of probably they want to get mobile, but never sure about this cat because we're not sure how long she's been lying here. But of course now it's getting slightly cooler and they would gain a lot of energy. Of course, nothing goes to waste with their own energy like this. When it's cooler, temperature drops for them to able to focus on hunting again. Look at the beautiful stripe there. It's spot patterned. Look at her leg. And then of course you're probably going to go down drink where the water wall is not far away. But it looks to me she haven't eaten yet. Vicky, and indeed you're right. I agree, it's a beautiful coat to this cat here, hey? Remember leopards, they have a rosette spot, cheetah, solid spot. As you can see there. And they have some of them a lot whiter under their belly. So their whole entire body kind of like gold with this pattern for well camouflage. I'm going to stick around, I'm going to stay here.
Jumbo, look what we have. Penetrating eyes that can see through almost everything around where I am. This is the black-chested snake eagle. Yes, thank you very much for the side profile. That beak is meant for tearing and killing its prey. They usually hunt from one, patch, able to see long distances and can detect and size whatever they're looking at. And with pinpoint accuracy, they can fly from there with lightning speed, pouncing on whatever they have found. Mouse, grasshopper, snake, bird, killing it. Combination of talons and beak. It's a beautiful bird. Black-chested snake eagle. Hence its name, it feeds on snake. Very common around the Mara. But sometimes if you're not in the right spot, you might not see it. Look at that. Yeah, those, huge eyes are to enable it to see far. Yeah, it's one of our eagles we have here in the Mara. We do have 3 kinds of snake eagles. We have the banded, the brown, and the black-chested snake eagle. Yeah. They usually pair for life. So there is another one far away. They're all not always together, but the ability to see far allows them to see each other. So he might not be close. It is very hard to differentiate between male and female unless they're, side by side. But definitely it's a beautiful bird. Remember to talk to us, #WildEarth. Questions, comments are very, very welcome. This is live. It's coming from the Masai Mara. I don't know if he sees something or He's just swaying around. Apart from that, we have lots of more stuff around here, but this is a very beautiful, beautiful bird. Yeah, he's quite a long way. That is where he is. Look at where we are, how beautiful it is. Yeah, we have everybody around here. Those looks like impala, aren't they? They are impala. Looks like one big harem. And they're all listening and look at me every now and then. Yeah, beautiful colors, look at that. It's a very common antelope here in the Mara. Usually you see a group of bachelors, which can be from 1 to 15, and a harem of one male with around 30 females. Over here there is quite a good number. I'm gonna let you enjoy this for a little bit, and then I'm gonna move on and find something else.
Impalas. Sometimes, once in a while, we have seen lions also hunting impalas. Welcome to another part or another corner of the Masai Mara. And look what we got for you. Bundles of joy. 4 very small little tiny calves, with the mother grooming one of them. Not sure who had a lion lying on its back. They start doing that very early. Although it's a different ball game here, the little cub is having some wonderful time with the mother. Not very sure whether lionesses or cats here in Africa have preferences to their cubs, because she got 4 and she's working on one currently and not the other 3 now, working the second one. Or is she going to work them one at a time? She just got here. She was away. And for those of you who are with us or with me this morning, we found them. And I think the very first time we have seen these cubs, I'm full of joy to let you know it's me and Bungei who's on camera this afternoon who first saw these cubs. I'm not sure anybody else have seen them in the Masai Mara. If not, and we were the first one to have seen them. And why I think we saw them, it's because the mother was changing her den, or their den. We have seen this female with another female, I think a first cousin or a sister, and they have hung out in a particular spot, a radius of about 1 kilometer square, for about 2 weeks. And I thought there must be a reason, because we know that lions or lionesses are territorial, and they tend to shift from one place to another every day or every 2 days. But to hang around the same area for that long, one of the days on a closer look, I looked at this particular lioness mammary glands, and I saw some suckle marks. And days later today, this morning, I saw these cubs. What a joy. Fluffy cubs. It'll be very difficult for me now to tell whether they're males or females. But I'm sure as they age, as they get a little bit older, I'll be able to do that. Now, third one has come in to touch base with the mother. Getting groomed. Hello, Mama. Elisa, what's the survival rate? I guess you're asking for the cubs of lions, and I would say it would depend from one pride to another. But generally speaking, I would say about 40%. 40% is the general survival rate of cubs here in the Masai Mara. But of course, that keeps changing up and down. Some prides, Elisa, I'm sure you've been following us. You know my favorite pride, the Sausage Tree Pride, the very successful females. I mean, they do a wonderful job, led by Kingtail. Now, you may remember late last year, but one, we had a little fight of two pairs of lions where we lost two cubs. Other challenges they face are wild dogs, occasionally leopards, sometimes big raptors like martial eagles have been known to come and pick up these cubs. Occasionally they get snake bites and they die, or get eaten by like big snakes like python. Where are you going? Hyenas, if an opportunity comes, we have seen them eating our lion cubs. Of course, the only other challenge they would face if a new coalition of males would come in, like now, the coalition currently here in the Mara Triangle, the Triangle Boys, and we have been seeing a lot of shifting of coalitions here the last few months. And should a new one come, overthrow the existing pride males for these lionesses, then I highly doubt these cubs would survive. The new males, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on the lions, would bring them down and either eat them or leave them dead. And these females would be in estrus more or less immediately, and mating will start. I'm very delighted. Bungay is telling me I think we could be the very first one to see these cubs in the whole of Mara Triangle. And if that's the case, wow, we have every reason to celebrate. I'm not going to go anywhere. I'll stay tight here for a couple of more minutes.
That's very awesome. New cubs. So here at Lalamba, actually, she was busy now vocaling, busy, making a call, vocalizations. And now she's looking intensely towards us. But it probably was a kind of a territorial call, what I just heard. And she just rise ahead just for that communication. We're just going to see if she will maybe make a movement now. But if she does, how it looks like let's take that moment, just listen. Right, everyone, looks like that was a very nice sound for a cat like this. So she might actually start to be active right now. So everyone, questions are welcome. Drop them on #WildEarth or YouTube, Twitter as well. And of course, #childrenquestions.tv. That's how you guys able to contact with us right here, right in this spot. So I'm gonna keep following on this cat, see how far she goes with us. But I'm not gonna leave her alone. So. I'm gonna stay with her and see how far she goes.
Sounds like Tlalamba's been very territorial these days, and it's about time too. She's almost 3, which is normally the time that female leopards on average start to mate. She must be territorial before she really gets into her proper estrus swing, shall we say. So it's very exciting. Now, not everybody's awake, but this little guy is. It's always the cubs or the pups that wake up first. Even hyenas, wild dogs, leopards, lions, they're always the ones that wake up first. They've got too much energy. But it's been a really particularly hot, sticky day here. Uncomfortably so, very humid, 31 degrees Celsius and 88 degrees Fahrenheit. So I can imagine these lions feel just as sticky as I do. But I had a little look at one of Reginald's boys. She's got 2. They're the oldest cubs, and he still looks painfully thin. His ribs and his hip bones are sticking out. So I'm not sure they really did feed well last night. I assume they might have had a snack. But this pride is hungry. It's not the entire pride. I can only see one adult female that's purple eye, but there could be another tawny female lying in the grass. It's very difficult when they're this flat. But they're hungry. They need to hunt. Now, they're currently on Juma, but on the western boundary, Triple M. So if they do decide to get up and just head west, then we're in trouble. Deanna, you're asking about lions getting heat stroke. And yes, all mammals can actually get heat stroke. It just tends to be the case that non-human animals, because we are of course animals, tend to be a little bit more sensible in that if they do get too hot, they're very aware of their sort of thermoregulation within themselves. They don't sunbathe like humans do. A lot of mammals will bask in the sun in the early hours, like the little hyena cubs come out of the den in the morning just to get some vitamin D, and that's very important for their nutrition. But you'll normally find that when lions really do get too hot, they will pop off into the shade to help cool themselves down. If they're really, really hot, then they will absolutely head straight to a water hole where they can drink. But yes, mammals of any shape and form can get heat stroke. But it's us humans that tend to want to lie in the sun all the time and sunbathe, which is why we suffer from it a little bit more than the likes of lions. Most organisms right across the board are in tune with their temperature. They have an internal sort of thermostat that will biologically cue for them what to do. So we're going to sit here a little bit longer and hope our lions get active.
All right. A very good evening to our dear viewers. My name is Fred, and right in front of you is a lioness. We've been staying with this lioness for a couple of minutes now, or maybe almost close to an hour. We got 3 of them, and we presumably think these are lionesses from the Olololo Pride. And actually, they've been here the better part of the afternoon. You know, it has been scorching hot here in the Mara, but now it's cooling down a bit, and they will probably start moving around in a short while. They look well fed, and we actually saw a bit of blood stains on their feet, so that means they had a meal either this morning or this afternoon before we arrive. In this particular area, there seems to be a bit of territorial overlaps from the Olololo Pride. We got the Owino Pride to the south and the River Pride to the east. So quite often we've seen all these prides kind of playing around this area. So we think to probably be like a no man's land. Beautifully on.
Very well done, Fred. And today I think we're very lucky in Mara cats and cats. Several cats, several kittens, the Olololo Pride, and now I got the River Pride. Scabs just trying to play games with me. Let me see what the best thing to do is to move forward a little bit. And as I said earlier, I was to stay with them here and spend a couple of minutes. Let me try and give Bungay a good angle. Keep going. Good. Okay. Now, this is not part of the Olororo. This is the River Pride. I was with them this morning, and what they've been doing, they've been playing with the mother, and they have just laid under that shade there. And this tells you how hot it is in the Mara today. Many cats, when it gets hot, that's exactly what they'll do. Sometimes we just stay flat, but I doubt the cubs will do that. The cubs could be playing somewhere behind that bush. When I saw her walk here, she looked very well fed. She had left them, and I think she had gone for some food somewhere. And as typical for lions, when they choose to go flat, you'll always, best thing to do is to move on.
So, all right, guys, if there was ever a definition for laziness, I think that's what we are looking at currently. When you are so lazy that you don't even want to walk around your mom to drink some milk, but you rather just creep over and lie on top. Ooh. A little bit of a tussle there. But yeah, I mean, that was really cute, seeing him just lying on top of his mom drinking like that. Shame, and his sibling now took the teat that he was busy working with. You can actually see how he's looking for another one. There we go, boy. So very good news that these little ones are, you know, looking like this, getting a little bit more active. So we just had a question from Ron. Do we know how big this pride's territory is? Ron, okay, so I'm gonna firstly explain to you how vast the Kalahari Lions territories can be, and then I'll tell you how big the Southern Pride's territory is. So they've done studies which show that male lions, Kalahari male lions, or even if you go up to the Namibian desert, up there, the male lion's territories can stretch as far as almost 100 square kilometers, which is huge. I mean, that's just immense. Over here, however, we do have a little bit more rainfall and all of that. So the Southern Pride, their territory for the females typically comprises of about, I want to say about 9,000 to 10,000 hectares. Okay. Same with the Northern Pride, also more or less that amount of that size of a territory. The four males, they are dominant over all or both of those prides. So their territory then extends up to about 18 to 20,000 hectares. Males' territories will always be larger because for them it's all about the amount of females that they can have within their territory. Females, they're not as bothered about the size of the territories, more about the amount of hunting opportunities they've got, water, and then the big one is available den sites to raise their cubs. So typically you'll find with not only lion but also leopard, any type of territorial animal, the females have a smaller territory and then the males will have a larger territory because for them it's all about the ladies. So yeah, Southern Pride, the ones that we are looking at currently, they've got about a 9,000 to 10,000 hectare territory, whereas the males slightly larger, almost double that size at the moment. You'll find that some territories can extend as large as 35,000 hectares. I know of a coalition of 6 male lions in the Sabi Sands, which actually comprised, when they in their reign, their territory stretched over half of the Sabi Sands. So let's say about 40,000 hectares. So they were basically dominant over the entire central and northern part. However, to come back to the point, Southern Pride, they've got about 10,000 hectares, and then the males double that. So yeah, beautiful, beautiful. It is also just an indication of how good the environment is. Enough food for everyone to have a smaller territory.
So these two males just picked up their head, but you can see the one on the left, how tired he is. His head is drooping down, his eyes are closed, and it probably won't be too long before he's going to just put his head down again. Now, it might have been that there was something near the water that was moving, and so that's why he got up his head to have a look. But you see, he's trying his best to stay up. Oh, no, he can't. And the thing about lions, as we mentioned over the last few drives, and as some of the other guides have mentioned, they are pretty lazy animals, and sometimes they'll be able to sleep up to 20 hours a day before they move on. Now, these males were moving quite a considerable amount this morning, and then only later on, close to 10 o'clock, when it was already starting to warm up quite a bit, they were still moving. So I'm sure they're pretty tired, just waiting for it to cool down before they would start moving from here. And that's why we patiently waited here to see what's going to happen. It might be that they could lie down like this for the next 2 hours. But it can also be because of the fact that the sun is slowly starting to set in the west, is that they would eventually get up and start moving, and that's what we're hoping for, is to see that movement and to see how big they are and compare the two. Now, it does look like, though, this one that we're looking at now is older as well as bigger as the one slightly left. If you look at his mane, it is impressive. And you'll notice there's like this golden rim around the face, and then just in the middle, there's a splash of black. And notice how much darker in color he is, especially around his belly in comparison to the one lying down on the left. And even if we look at that one with the big man, if we go closer towards his face, now often with male lions, they tell a big story, like especially all the scars. If you look at the face, maybe the paws, you'll be able to learn a lot from them. Now, if we move closer, you'll see that there's quite a few scars around the bridge, also the bridge of the nose, around the eyes, and on the chin. So he's been in quite a few fights. Even look at his paw. See that right paw that he's leaning on now? Do you notice the scratches on that? Now I wonder, is that from possibly him and his brother fighting over a carcass, or is that fighting with other males? But I'm sure based on all the scars, it's probably from fighting with some of the other males. But Gert and I are definitely going to sit here for the next little while to see if these two males are going to start moving.
Oh, our cubbies are sleepy. We've just had a big yawn there. Sleepy, but also waking up on the same hand here. Now, I just wonder where they're going to go. They probably will reunite with the rest of the pride, and that does mean heading west. It's been a lion drive today all round, but we go for long periods without the Nkuhumas. They've got a large territory and even bigger home range, and we go for long bouts without them, and then all of a sudden they appear once again. And it's normal for a pride to split. They will know exactly where one another are through scent and audio. Sorry, Bex, you'll have to go with that question one more time. I know it's from Minamu. Do I think that heat makes lions lazy?
Extreme heat.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. The same as us. Heat makes us all feel exhausted after a while. We will become dehydrated, and absolutely exactly the same as us. But lions generally are nocturnal, as you all know, so they will sleep during the day. It's completely normal. They just have a reputation for being lazy because we see them during the day. But they walk great distances at night. They use up a lot of their energy during the night time. And yes, of course, you normally find in the low veld, at least, I know it's different in areas like the Masai Mara, but in the low veld, you do find that lions are slightly more active during the day in winter. And it's for that reason it's cooler. And of course, food is generally scarce, water is generally scarce. So they're more active during the day in winter, and in summer, they're more active during the night. And it's because, well, food is plentiful, water is plentiful, and it's just too hot. We've struggled today, so if humans struggle and we can sweat and we can drink and we can seek shade, and I'm also driving in a vehicle where I get a gentle little breeze. Lions don't get that, so yes, heat definitely makes them lazy. I don't know if lazy is the right word, but exhausted. You know, when you go on vacation and you spend all day sunbathing, at the end of it, you're exhausted and you think, I didn't really do anything. I lay on a sun lounger, I read my book, I listened to some music, took a dip in the pool, and yet I'm absolutely exhausted. But once again, it really is getting cooler here. It's almost 5:30, so it's time for our nocturnal lions to get up.
So the heat does make animals very sluggish. As we saw, these buffaloes earlier were slowly making their way, but they've all now reached the water. Although the main bulk of the herd looks a little bit shy. They are waiting for these older, more established bulls, the confident bulls, to assess the situation and let them know that it's fine to come and drink. Remember, every single time, well, at least for the last couple of weeks, whenever I've seen the buffaloes come down to drink, a predator of some sort has come and drunk at the same waterhole, be it a leopard or a lion. So I'm fully expecting that we're going to have something crazy happen. But it seems like they've made their decision. It seems like they've decided, you know what? That water looks pretty inviting after a hot day. And they're all going to start coming down now. They do have to walk carefully. That cracked clay is quite uneven to walk on, and they can hurt themselves, especially if a lion or something would rush out and give them a fright. There's a good chance that they could stumble and hurt themselves. They do have to be quite careful as they come down to the water's edge, or busy feeding on any of these small herbs that are growing there. Bit of a jostling match at the back there, as the ones at the back are more excited to get to the water. The ones at the front are stopping to eat the herbs, and they're getting impatient. See, those are all young bulls in the middle there, the older bulls right at the front, and then the females and calves following behind. Oh, stampede towards the water. No idea what caused that. Don't think there's any predator. I think it's just exuberance, excitement, maybe a little bit of impatience. I am having a little bit of a scan in the distance. I don't see anything coming down apart from the buffaloes. Oh, look at that. Gorgeous. All the dust billowing above them. It almost looks like one of the crossings on the Mara. Oh, that's amazing. Laura, I'm going to answer that question in a moment. Just zoom out a little bit for us there. On one side, youngsters in the middle, and then all the females on the left. That's crazy how they've organized themselves. There's a definite hierarchy in buffalo herds. So Laura, there's no one single animal who is in charge. However, there will be a group of bulls who are dominant. Sometimes they're known as the pathfinders, and they will be the ones who make the decisions. Oh, look at these two. What's going on there? So that's a young bull. Maybe it was being chased by that older bull. It's also possible that there's, oh, this is crazy. It's not us. We didn't do anything, I swear. We've been sitting here quietly the whole time. Don't look at us like that. So as I said, I saw a lion track here earlier, and every time we've been at the waterhole before with buffaloes, there's been something which disturbed them, like a lion or a leopard. So they're pretty much on edge at the moment. Maybe there's a smell in the air, so they're looking all over, almost in every direction. So as I was saying, Laura, whilst there's a bit of lull in the action, there'll be a group of dominant bulls. This one that's looking at us right now, he's almost certainly one of the dominant bulls. And there'll be 3 or 4 others, probably in a group this size, who dominate and make the decisions for the herd. And there's a number of young bulls and then very old bulls, like you see there's at the back there, who are slowly... so no one individual, but more of a council of elders.
Any watering hole will always bring some sort of life. But for me here, I'm just looking at slowly my day coming to an end. Of course, you can all tell that's the western horizon. Slowly and surely, the sun is setting. And that is the very famous Olololo escarpment, which forms one boundary of the Mara Triangle, whereas the other two are the Mara River on one side and the boundary between Kenya and Tanzania. Tanzania is to the south of Kenya. You can see how beautiful sunsets are. Very quiet where we are, as it would be also be keeping quiet for a couple of seconds, just to enjoy a quiet moment. Well, I've been planning this morning and this afternoon to look for baby Jasiri, the baby elephant. Not that I'm worried, but I wasn't very lucky to see her in the sunrise safari. And I haven't seen her, neither have I seen her this afternoon. There's so many elephant herds in Amara. But on the, the upside of that tells me she's moving a lot, which to me, it's very good news. And I'm not giving up until the very end of safari. And if not today, tomorrow morning, I'll be right back here to try and find her.
Beautiful. How's that Olololo escarpment? Listen to this again. From the sunset, beautiful sunset, to this kind of a ravine here where we are, still with the Kalamba. She hasn't yet given up calling for her territory, I think. You can hear also the squirrels calling in the background there. And I know this is not her first time to be in this area. But she's now there again. Looks like pretty much the same route she took the other day. But this time she's pretty much on communication. I don't know if it's maybe another leopard's been in the area yet. It's not like what she used to. But yeah, we'll keep up with her, and it's another vehicle. But yeah, let's see how far she goes, right?
Alrighty guys, there's a bit of action happening now. They've finished drinking and there's just a little bit of playing going on. We witnessed this little cub on the left hand side, that one looking at us now, actually practicing that clamp that they sorry, they're just too cute. The clamp that they are going to one day need, which they use to suffocate the animal. So he was practicing it on his brother, that, putting the mouth around the throat and closing off all blood flow to the brain and so on. Obviously not a fatal one, as you can see. They're just playing and still very young, but it's all very important little, simulations that they go through at the moment, which train them to one day be very, very sufficient hunters and killers for that matter. Yeah, it would seem like they have had enough of lying down at the moment. It would be a very welcome thought for Mom and Dad to wake up and maybe start moving so that they can burn off some of this energy that they've built up during the day. Very, very cute. Yeah, guys, we'll go a little closer now. I started talking this a little earlier about the spots that they've got on their, now only, visible on their bellies and their paws really still. But when you look at the smaller cubs, if you ever get to see like a month-old cub or so, you'll actually see they're covered in spots at that time. Little brown dots, which will fade into that tawny color, but it's critically important for those spots to be present during the initial stages of their life, because it just adds to the camouflage. When they get left in a bush by their mom when she needs to go hunting or so on, and they just lie still, having those little dots actually a very good way of camouflaging, just like a leopard almost, having those rosettes on their skin or on their coat to help them to camouflage. As the cubs grow older, with the lions now, they'll grow out of those spots. It will fade and it will become that tawny color. And at around the age of 2 years, you'll see the spots disappearing almost completely on the legs. As soon as they get to adulthood, they don't have it anymore. But very, very important. It always amazes me how you can see the different adaptations as far as camouflage is concerned with, whichever animal. If you even look at a blue wildebeest, their babies are born that tawny color, almost the same as a lion. And then when they are at the point where they're really now fast enough to be able to, for the strong ones, outrun a lion and, stay alive and do all of those things, then they only turn into that grayish blue coloration. It's just incredible how the bush works. Yeah, we tried to...
Welcome back to And Beyond Phinda, where Craig and I have left those lions in a deep sleep on the edge of that riverbed, and we're back out driving through the open plains, and we just thought we would show you this absolutely magnificent sunset. At the end of the day, and I really hope that whatever screen you're watching on is doing justice to the incredible colors that are coming out of the sunset. A lot of clouds out in the distance there, a lot of haze, a lot of dust in the air. It's almost salmony pink hues above the sun. And it's just about to touch the horizon there. So get your stopwatches out. We'll see how long it takes for it to get from where the bottom of the sphere touches the horizon until it's completely gone. Absolutely magnificent way to end off the day. And all of the grassland birds around us, like the rufous-snaped larks, calling their last for the evening. Lauren, were you saying the circle of glow? It certainly is a circle of glow. That almost like an aura that's around the sun as it heads towards the horizon. How far are we? We're coming up to a minute, and it looks like it's about halfway down. You might be able to hear some African quail finches calling behind us as they too head off to find a safe place to rest for the night. I wonder what those lionesses will do in the night, both of them looking like they had pretty empty bellies, like they were in need of some food. So they might leave those little cubs again in that ravine, having had a good suckle. And then the lionesses will probably head out to hunt, maybe into those burnt patches with the coming of night and the cover that darkness will bring. Maybe make it a bit easier for the lionesses to conceal themselves in these pretty sparse plains now that there's been a fire or two that's come through here. We're coming up to 2 minutes. The sun almost gone, but still that lovely colour in the sky above it. And don't stop your stopwatches just yet. You can still see a little dim bit of glow. And stop. I got 2 minutes and 26 seconds. I don't know what you all got. I'd love to hear from you. And with the coming of evening, at this time of year, this is often the time of day when white rhinos will go and start to head down towards water to go and drink. And there's a prominent water source not far from here. So Craig and I are going to go and see if we can find some rhinos coming down for a drink.
Beautiful. So rhino going to drink. This is perfect for most animals to go down and drink. But you know what, Lalamba haven't yet. Since we got here, she haven't gone down to drink yet, which she's now actually moving far from the dam, east from there. And as you can see, how beautiful she is. How is that? Right here in front of us as she walks past by. I'm not gonna move just yet until she move across to the other side. I don't know if I have a visual now. I don't know if Theo. Okay, Theo say that she have moved on, so we're gonna turn around, follow her. So I'm not sure if maybe she heard or got a scent from another leopard around here. Who could be another leopard that she might actually come across the scent? But the way she's doing, it looks like she's probably noticed something in this area, that maybe there is another leopard, or it's a normal territory. But she's been actually doing it continuously, you know. And this is sometimes when a leopard does that, it's just because of maybe a little bit worried that maybe another leopard was around, or that's normally what can happen now. If that's the case, then another leopard, you know, could be male, could be female. You know, female would think about in this area where she is right now, could be maybe her mother. There's no tracks of male around here since, you know, yesterday, most especially in this far east of Gari Dam. So we're gonna give another chance here. She's on the other side of the wood, but we're gonna keep an eye on her.
As you can see, the buffaloes have recovered from their initial shock. Some of them have come back to the water to continue drinking. Others are still milling about, but it looks like they might head back up the crest to where it'll probably be a little bit warmer during the evening. It was very hot during the day, but the temperature's dipping now a little bit. We actually can hear some thunder in the distance, which is very exciting because we haven't been hearing thunder since almost, maybe February, March, April. So there's a long time since we heard thunder, which is going to bring us rain eventually at some point. Oh, look at this buffalo. It looks like it's got a face mask on. Must be a very old buffalo, which is losing all of its fur. You can see the oxpeckers there are beginning to hop all about it, trying to probably help it to get rid of some ticks and parasites. That can be a sign of age. It can also be mange from poor nutrition, not spending enough time being grooming or being groomed, spending too much time trying to find food. Maybe the water is quite soothing. And that's often why they cover themselves in mud as well. So as they get older, they do tend to lose quite a bit of fur. It's very peaceful here now. You can see the buffaloes at the back starting to head their way up a little bit, or very slowly, which is good. We don't want them to stampede through our camp. But I think we'll have to make sure that the students in camp are very aware that there's a whole herd of buffalo coming their way.
Well, the Nkuhumas were definitely awake earlier than this yesterday. Look how sleepy they are. And I just want to look at this one, Beaks, this one lion right here. We just look at his hip bones. You see, they've not had a meal. And don't worry, they're okay. I don't mean that they're, at risk of starvation, but they're hungry. Their bellies are not full, and this is probably contributing to their exhaustion as well. Now, I do wonder, yesterday we thought we had a buffalo hunt on our hands, and I do wonder, because the buffalo were in an area that was so open and so exposed at Gowrie Dam, not even that, the buffalo were at the opposite side of the dam to the lions. I do wonder if that also deterred them. You've got to rely on stealth. Although there was lots of them, there was 5 females yesterday, they've got to remain hidden. But there was plenty of opportunity in terms of prey. There's lots of youngsters and buffalo, but just like leopards, they want to remain hidden in the thicket until the last minute they can sort of surprise their prey. Rick, I've never seen lions start to lose their teeth, but I imagine if they sort of bite the wrong thing, they absolutely could lose their tooth or chip a tooth when they get to old age, because they don't live so long, not like humans. Humans have a long lifespan. Male lions tend to live anywhere between 10 to 14 years, and you normally find, just like Tandy's the perfect example because we often see her teeth. She likes to smile at us, and they're chipped, they're yellow, they're not in great condition, but they're not falling out. A carnivore, an apex predator, wouldn't be able to survive without their teeth. So they don't start to fall out, but they do lose condition. They will get chipped and all sorts. But luckily, they don't eat all the junk that humans eat, and therefore they don't suffer from tooth decay, or nor do they need to go to the dentist and get fillings. But their teeth do lose condition, and they get yellower and yellower. As handsome as Tungana is, because of his age, his teeth are very, very yellow. But they don't lose them, Rick, no. So we are reaching the end of the drive. I'm hoping within the next 15 we get some movement from these sleepyheads.
Right here in the Mora Triangle, the sun is almost, it has actually disappeared. And here we got a small group of elephants, about 5 of them. And interestingly, this is a very impressive collection. They're all males, very big males, in fact. And ordinarily, male elephants tend to stay more on their own, only coming back to the herd when they are in a state of mast. That means males are ready to mate, then they will come and look for females that are probably ready for mating. Then they come in and stay with them for a couple of days, then they start separating again and live as lone rangers. So at about 30 years old, that is when elephants started getting into this state of mast. And the duration of mast in elephants tend to depend more on how old the elephant is. Like younger bulls tend to have a very short mast period, about a week or 2. But for old bulls, like one of the bulls that we've just seen on our camera, those can go for a month. Oh, look at that. Dropping a huge pile of poop. Very important nutrients getting back into the soil. You know, an elephant dung is a small ecosystem on its own. When it starts drying, lots of things comes in. Small creatures, insects, dung beetles will stay in an elephant dung. And again, they help very much in seed dispersal. You know, they've got a very poor digestive system. So actually, a lot of things that they feed on tends to go through sometimes completely undigested. Good. So we've also been noticing a lot of changes in terms of the vegetation in the Mara Triangle. I mean, you see there's quite few trees left standing, and one of the reasons that can be attributed to these trees disappearing are actually the elephants themselves. They rip off the bark, eventually the tree dies, or sometimes they knock down trees, like you got a dead wood over there. During this time of the day, elephants in the Mara Triangles kind of tends to move more out towards the escarpment. So like they've got sort of a program movement, like evenings up to the hill, down to the river, towards the river in the mornings. Right, a very good evening. This is a very fantastic sighting to probably end the day's show, or you can take our viewers back to maybe another sighting elsewhere.
Okay, so the cubs have accomplished the mission of getting mom up, and now it's on to the more difficult one, getting this big boy to wake up. They're trying. He's not quite in the mood though. Mom, by the way, is just off to our right hand side actually, so just over there you can see her lying, and it would have seemed that she picked up on something over here somewhere. Almost seemed like she started, I don't want to call it stalking, but you know that initial stages where they're still walking upright but paying very close attention to whatever is going on in front of them. You can see she's still staring in that direction. So potentially you know what, I'm not even going to make a guess. It could be an oryx, it could be a brown hyena moving by, it could even be those 2 male lions that we left earlier, who's also on their way down here. But definitely picked up on something. I have to say, I thought they were going to be a little less lazy this afternoon, with it being a cooler day, but quite nice to just spend time with them. Beautiful to have a sunset and lions at the same time. And yeah, guys, I mean, we spoke about her earlier, about her age. You can see it's still a very young, very pretty female. So I can also just about see those dots that I spoke about on the cubs earlier. Just about make them up still. There's definitely something going on here, guys. Look at how she's lying now. Their eyesight sometimes amazes me, you know. Our eyes are supposed to be better when it comes to seeing these things, but I mean, they've got trained bush eyes, so any funny movement, any strange shape is going to alert them. But yeah, stunning female. Very pretty. You know, even still in the face, if she looks at us, you'll get a better look at how beautiful her face is. Still a very pink nose, which is also an indication of age. And I see a bright future for this female.
Our lions, well, they're starting to wake up ever so slightly, still in very comfortable positions lying on the grass. You can see the scars here on the elbow from mange. The youngest one, I'm pretty sure it's Chella's young one, is quite heavily scarred from the hair loss. And I think we've got a yoga session going on here. But yes, the mange has heavily affected the Nkahuma pride. And the mange is very similar to scabies in humans. And it's from a sort of a parasitic mite that embeds itself into the hair follicles. And it's really infected the cubs. I'm having really bad troubles with my earpiece today, so I'm going to guess this question. But I think, Tracy, you're asking how long do lions stay in milk for? So I'll answer that question. I hope that's right. My earpiece decided to give up on me today. They stay in milk for... Okay, I've been told that was right. So they get introduced to meat really, really quickly at normally around 6 weeks. And why this is to prepare them, is to get them ready. So for the first 6 weeks normally, and these are sort of average figures, it'll be pure milk. But they can allosuckle lions, so the little ones can suckle off any of the lactating females. It doesn't just have to be mom. And it's 6 weeks they are introduced to meat. Now, it's just little nibbles of meat here and there. It's not obviously a whole carcass or crunching through bones, but this is to get them ready. The most important thing for a pride is to get the cubs big and strong as quickly as possible, especially if there's a threat of a sort of onset of a takeover, new males in the area. The females must get them ready as quickly as possible. But they will stay in milk for a very long time, and it does depend on the age of the cub as well, but they can stay in milk for about 8 to 11 months. But they'll be far more on the meat side at that stage than they will be drinking milk. Once these lions get a taste for milk, it's very it's very difficult to deter them otherwise. And the sort of milk teeth in lions erupt at around 21 to 30 days. That's when the little cubs start to get their teeth, and their permanent teeth come in anywhere between 9 to 12 months. So sort of 8 to 11 months, give or take, the cubs will start to be weaned. And it's a process. Weaning is a process. Something's all piqued their interest. I'm going to sit here and hopefully we can find out what it is.
It's beautiful, sitting with the lions, learning. It's all about learning about them, So here, again. So this Lalamba, she hasn't stopped calling every time, vocalizations, but also being alert, listening around, see her ears, just because of maybe some birds are giving alarm call from the distance, and I heard a squirrel in the background. So she's pretty much alert now. But since we don't know what caused this, but so a leopard bite force is actually very strong. If you were to think about warthog, it's a big animal, and this cat will able to go through the neck suffocations. So they're not strong like hyena can or lion can, but extremely strong. So I've seen a lot of leopards when they do that. They even lost their teeth by trying to, making sure they don't lose that prey once they got hold of the neck, trying to suffocate. Look, she's coming to us right here. Looks like she's just going to walk right close to our vehicle. And we weren't going to film her right now because she's going to be right in our vehicle, right behind our vehicle. And I'm going to reverse. We still have a visual. So yeah, they're very strong animal, leopards. So in this age, which we're looking at the cats reaching now about 3 years old, and of course, seeing her hunt, it's very extremely amazing. And how do they kill? She would kill actually bigger size impala, which weighs sometimes more than her size, her weight. So they are strong. They build up with very strong jaws, and of course, it comes to bring prey up in the trees is another technique they got, and they do that immediately. So I've seen a lot of time when a leopard make a kill so young, it actually takes a lot of time for them to learn from their mother, but finally they're able to do it. And the first kill, we found they don't really know how to suffocate, just because of they actually have a lot of energy of playing. But I seen from also quarantine, his first kill was a duiker, and I would play with that duiker for a long time until and they're able to suffocate that animal. So I just want to take this very moment to thank everyone to be part of the show this afternoon. And as we see there, we still got our Lalamba, which I think we might actually do the same thing tomorrow. We know where she's hanging around. We probably would find her again. And this for the whole team, Wild Earth. Just want to thank you for been in his channel, and then tomorrow is going to be the same things, the same time, very much the same time tomorrow, and then we'll be looking forward to meet you right here on this very same channel. Thank you very much. See you tomorrow. Goodbye.